Hey there, it's Brent Harvey with A-Hole Productions, and today is Technique Tuesday, where we talk about acting stuff. All right, I know you're excited about it. So today I want to talk about relationships. Relationships are very, 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 very important, because without them, we couldn't relate to our world. We have relationships with everything in our world. We have relationships with money. We have relationships with people. We have relationships with things. Everything. If I said, how do you feel about sharks? How do you feel about blue cheese? How do you feel about your mom? You would have 3 different relationships with them. What do they all have in common? You, right? Now, when we talk about characters, like who this character is and the world they live in and everything else, we build their world through relationships, okay? If this person was abused as a child or was raised in a rich household, their relationship to the world and to people are going to be different. If they had a good father, a bad father, a good mother, if they had siblings or their only child, their relationships with everything are going to affect how they move through and about that world. Okay? So I say this to people. If you were to walk outside right now and a homeless person was to say, "You're an asshole," you'd probably just go, "The crazy homeless people." If your mom was to call you right now and say you're an asshole, you'd probably get your feelings hurt, and you'd probably lash back at them maybe. Well, what's the difference? They said the exact same thing. The difference is your relationship with these people are different. It means something different, right? So, how do we build relationships? Well, the most simplistic way to explain this is this. What I like to do is I do this. I look through a script and I look for the people and the things. Now, let's start with people, like whoever the main relationship is in that. Like, say I'm talking to my girlfriend. I sit there and I go, okay, Ashley, who is, and I write this down on a clean piece of paper, Ashley, who is she? She's my girlfriend. How do I feel about her? I love her. What do I love about her? And I make a list of stuff on down the line. I love this about her. I love that about her. And I create this relationship. Because if I was to ask you about your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your mom, your dad, I'd say, how do you feel about this person? You'd say, well, I love them. Why? Oh, they make me laugh. And you'd list off all these things that emotionally connect with you. And that's why you have the relationship you have with them. If they treated you bad, you're gonna hate them for many reasons. If they treat you good, you're going to love them for many reasons. So the exercise I want you to do with this lesson is I want you to get a one-page scene, or just a page of a scene, and look through it and find all the relationships in it. Whether big or small, they all matter. And this is another lesson, but if it's in a script, it matters. Because if it wasn't important, they wouldn't have put the thing in the script, unless it's a really bad script. And there are a lot of bad scripts out there. However, if it's a good script, and if it is a bad script, still get in the habit of doing it, because you create your world. You have relationships to everything. You have relationships to colors, to places, temperatures, hot and cold. I love hot. I hate cold. Here's why. Unless it's something you have no relationship to because you don't have the knowledge of. I remember a few years back when I had students talking about Tinder, and I didn't know what Tinder was, and they referenced Tinder. I'm like, what are you talking about? And then once they told me it's an online dating app, I have a relationship with dating. I have a relationship with online dating. So all of a sudden, when my brain made 2 and 2, now I have a relationship with that. I judged it, okay? So now I have a point of view, a perspective of it. Now I can go through this world. That's how we connect. When you hear about the old saying of acting, of it's living truthfully in extraordinary circumstances. The way we connect to that, like if you're doing a scene from a play, Rabbit Hole, where the parents are dealing with the loss of a child. Well, you might go, I've never been married, much less had a kid. How do I know what it's like to lose a child? Well, you know what loss feels like. You've maybe lost a family member, you've maybe lost a pet or a toy when you're a kid. I know when I was a kid, I lost a toy I cared about very much that even now I still, I miss on some level. So I can call that up. I have a relationship with that. If you understand what the relationship is, then when you reference it and say the lines, it just naturally comes out. I had two students working on a scene a few years back where it was two brothers, and they were talking about, one was going through a divorce, and the brothers, like, in talking about it, they were talking about the wife that he's divorcing, and then the brother says, well, what's going on with the dog? She goes, and the brother says she wants to keep the dog. And they both, the way they referenced the dog, as if it was nothing, like it was just a word more than a thing. And I stopped and I said, well, hang on a second. Like, what about this dog? They're like, well, it's just a dog. It's not in the room. It's not, it's not actually in the room right now, so it doesn't matter. And it's like, that's not true. Everything in this world matters to you. It makes up your world. Just like your mom and dad may not be in the house with you right now. They might be on the other side of the world, but they still matter to you, right? So I said, well, what if your mom and dad, when you guys were in high school, your mom and dad got you this dog, you raised the dog together, the first one went off to college, then the second, and took the dog with them, then the second one went to college, and you guys became roommates, raised the dog together again, then the younger one went and got married, and because you knew the dog would have a good place and a home to stay, you said, you know what, take the dog with you, and because he'll have a yard to stay in, I don't want him to stay in this apartment, with us. And then they had the dog for a couple of years, and now they're getting a divorce, and now she wants to keep the dog. And both of them all of a sudden just got heated. They were just like, when the line came up, what about the dog? He said she wants to keep the dog, and he said it with such anger. And the brother, I forget what the next line is, he's like, that's not gonna happen. Like, they were both pissed that this now woman who was not originally her dog wants to keep this dog, and now all of a sudden they had a relationship to this thing that is just on paper and isn't actually in the room. But once they connected the relationship, it meant something to them. It was a full-rounded thought, a full-rounded relationship. We navigate our world in real life through relationships. If you, as an actor, want to respond differently to someone, another character, if you want a line to come out differently, change the relationship. Now, on top of that, one thing which I'll cover in another lesson later on is that it's not as simple as I love this person. We have internal conflict, and that comes from I love this person because of all this, but I hate them because of all this, or they irritate me because of all this. So think of love and hate at both ends of the spectrum, and then think of all the levels in between, the middle to each end. And if you really want some internal conflict, find all the things you passionately love about them and find all the things you passionately hate about them and put them together into that one relationship, and you'll have some amazing things come up in your work. Okay? But remember, you want to make your work easier. You want to build well-rounded characters like I talk about in the 7-layer dip and everything. Build your relationships. Know who you're talking to and how you feel about them, just as you do in your daily life. You might have a couple different friends and all sitting around, and one might ask you a question, and you're just like, I'm going on Tuesday. I'm leaving on Tuesday. And then the other friend walks in from the bathroom and goes, hey, when you leaving? You're like, I'm leaving on Tuesday. Like, why did this one irritate you and this one doesn't? Well, this one's always asking stupid questions. And here's the relationship. Why doesn't it irritate me with this person? Because it's a completely different relationship. If you understand the relationship, why you're saying the things you're saying, and how you feel about this person, it just makes it so much easier. It flows out, and it becomes this full world. Okay? So pay attention to that in your work. Go through a scene and get used to doing this in all your work, is going, who are they, how I feel about them, and why. And just keep asking that question until you start feeling the emotions, good or bad, start to stir up, and then go with that one and see what you discover, and then make adjustments. You're always making adjustments, but establish the relationship. Fair enough? All right, that's your lesson for the week. Go do your homework, get at it, have fun with it. If you have any comments or questions about this, or let us know your results, leave it below. If you know anybody that could use this lesson, as always at A-Hole Productions, we're looking to inspire and motivate others in the global artistic community to follow their dreams and do great things in the world. So please share that with anybody you think will benefit from it. In the meantime, be an a-hole because, well, it's fun. See you guys.